What went on behind this door during COVID lockdowns, now in sharp focus and finally becoming clearer. After weeks of going round in circles about what happened in the Downing Street garden, in the cabinet room, in the corridors of power, we now know that those who set the rules broke them. The PM and his Chancellor fined for lockdown breaches, as was the Prime Minister's wife, Carrie Johnson.
Today I've received a fixed penalty notice from the Metropolitan Police relating to an event in Downing Street on the 19th of June 2020. And let me say immediately that I've paid the fine and I once again offer a full apology. I have to say, in all frankness, at that time, it did not occur to me that this might have been a breach of the rules. But of course, the police have found otherwise, and I fully respect the outcome of their investigation. I understand the anger that many will feel that I myself fell short when it came to observing the very rules which the government I lead had introduced to protect the public. And I accept in all sincerity that people had the right to expect better.
That apology and fine for one gathering that took place inside number 10 in June 2020 on the PM's birthday. But there are plenty more, which for weeks were dismissed or denied. No laws, no rules broken.
I can tell you that the guidelines were followed at all times. The guidance was followed and the rules were followed at all times.
Have you lied to the public and to Parliament?
No, Beth.
If Sue Gray uncovers a different version of events and it emerges you did mislead Parliament, will you resign?
We'll have to see what she says.
Do you believe you may have broken the rules?
No.
Despite those denials, the police have fined the Prime Minister and his Chancellor for rule-breaking, and that raises questions about their political futures. The code of conduct for all government ministers is clear. Those who knowingly mislead Parliament are expected to resign.
The guilty men are the Prime Minister and the Chancellor. They've dishonoured all of that sacrifice. They've dishonoured their office. This is the first time in the history of our country that a Prime Minister has been found to be in breach of the law. And then he lied repeatedly to the public about it. Britain deserves better. They have to go.
But for his own MPs, even those who have called for him to go, now is not the time.
I previously said his position was not tenable. At the time I said that, it was at the turn of the year when these allegations became very clear. There was photographic evidence. But things have moved on since then. It doesn't take away the anger, the fury that people still have, and rightly have. And I share that. But I'm also looking at the situation in Ukraine.
It's worth pausing just a moment to take this all in. A sitting Prime Minister fined by the police for breaking rules he himself set. Boris Johnson repeatedly told Parliament, the public, his own party that all guidelines had been followed at number 10 during those COVID lockdowns. We now know that simply is not true. And despite it being an unparalleled situation, it could get worse for him still. He's still under investigation for other alleged lockdown breaches, and more fines could be on the way. And even though he's in such political hot water, this is a Prime Minister who, for now, appears to defy political gravity, with his MPs seeming unwilling to move against him at a time of war. But the big question is still, what do the voters make of it? For many people here in Boris Johnson's Uxbridge constituency, these fines spell the end of the line for our leaders.
They should be sacked. End of.
I think you should resign, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's not a good look to have a liar as a country's leader.
I think he's had a lot to deal with. So, you know, he's got bigger priorities to deal with, such as Ukraine.
He probably should resign. A fine's not enough.
It's hypocritical, it's not something you want in a leader.
The PM tonight hunkering down in his other official home, Chequers. But he can't escape the pressure of Partygate on his premiership, or the voters' verdict when the local elections come around in May. Beth Rigby, Sky News, Westminster.